Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the Jam and Cheese Show. We're joined by Brandon Smith and Charlie White. Myself and Charlie, basically 2 hours ago, we were on a plane back from Las Vegas. Went back home, quick shower. Here we are. And things have changed, Charlie. What has happened since we've been away?
They have. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see this beautiful studio that's here. Thanks to the Wild Sets guys and Josh Andrews put it all together. It looks great. This is just the start of it, though, because we've just come from Las Vegas straight to here, but we've got all these jerseys to put there, boots, all this different sort of stuff. If you want your club jersey here and here, feel free to send it in. We'll hang it up, give it a week, then we'll put another jersey up there.
I was going to say, because I know we've got a couple of lockers to fill, but
we do.
We're going to have to just do that on rotation.
On rotation, if you want your club jersey, your local club,
I like that.
Send it in,
Charlie. It's like, it looks amazing walking in. It's almost, when you sent me the video, it's just a bit of a reflection on just how far we have come as a team from that little idea of, should we start a podcast? And here we are with this snazzy studio and it's almost like a proper set.
It's a proper set, isn't it?
I feel like I'm doing a press conference. I'd just like to apologise.
And announce I'm signing with.
Coming soon. Coming soon, cheese. How are you? How was the cut through from Las Vegas here in Australia?
The cut through. Well, first of all, thank you guys for being here. I know this is a mighty effort, but mate, I was that excited. I watched every video on Instagram and I was so jealous, but the footy lived, apart from obviously the two massive games, the massive whitewashes. I think Canberra and Warriors was disappointing, but the Penrith and Sharks games was as good as footy as you're going to see in round one to start the year. So I think they've done a really good job there. But mate, it just looked unreal from outside looking in. I'm so jealous I wasn't there.
Mate, you know what? I was thinking about this. We forget that it's round one and like the different attitude of players during the first game and the feelings that come with that first real game of the season. But then you move those players to Las Vegas and they're almost expected to put on a show, but also the fact that it is still round one, you might be a little bit more conservative in your approach and you still find your feet, especially with conditioning. It's like it can take 4, 5, 6 weeks to get up to proper match fitness speed. Yeah,
I find it weird when like that prospect of like being conservative, even in trial matches. Like I was ahhing about it. Like why wouldn't you practice all your hard plays? Like teams aren't gonna review, the trial matches and go, this is how they're gonna play against us. Like from my opinion, and I think it's just the week before the teams is what you kind of review and like, yeah, I feel like the way Penrith did it, like you've seen a lot of hands being played in the plays they had, so it's weird. But yeah, round one, I know everyone was around like excited about it. All the boys watched all the games. I spoke to so many people about them, so good to have footy back. I just can't wait to be back on the pitch myself.
Cheese, you know what was going through my mind when I was watching the games in Las Vegas? We were up on level 400 of Allegiant Stadium in the commentary box, and it's a great view for a coach. So we were actually next to the coaches' boxes. It's quite strange, really. We could see right into the Sharks box, right into the Warrington box.
What do you mean? Like it was glass?
Yeah, glass. You could see through it. They probably need to. I don't know.
I found it awkward during the Warrington game because Sammy Burgess wasn't happy. I was like, I'm getting away from this. I don't want to see this anymore.
But what I was looking at...
give him the cheeky little finger or do something.
What I was looking at, the 2040 is on. We were talking about it?
Yeah.
Mate, it is on every set.
Yeah.
The 2040 is on. And then, you know what else I noticed? Players, and I knew this anyway, but I just had an eye on it. When you're going to do a short kick-off to one side, the players on the 10 at the other side, opposite side of the field, they're not switched on at all. I reckon there's room in the game for a fake short kick-off to the left and drill it hard to the right because those players are basically just daydreaming, going, oh no, it's over
How do
there.
you fake it though?
What do you mean? How do you fake it? So you'd just, you'd have one kicker set up, ready to kick short to the left-hand side, and then somebody standing there and then just drill it to the right-hand side. So many opportunities.
Like an onside kick in NFL.
Yeah, that's exactly what it would be like. Exactly.
It was the curse box next to us, wasn't it? It was all losers in that box. The Gillaroos weren't in there either as the English in the losers box. But we stayed at Resorts World as well. You guys stayed at Resorts World last year?
Yeah.
I could tell because all the players and all the coaches and everyone, they stay there. And you could tell by like midweek, the players were so bored of Vegas and like lost with what to do. Because really, there's only the opportunity to like go play the pokies or go play, have a bet, do stuff like that. There's nothing really else to do. I just don't know how you keep players engaged through that whole week. Like obviously you get a couple of days to party and stuff like that when you first get there. But then after that, what did you guys do when you went? Did they have like activities for you, training sessions or?
When we got to Vegas, it's quite a blur. It's quite a blur, I'll be honest. But we had a lot of promotional stuff, go on the stage and do stuff like that. For me, I think the novelty was just I'd never been to Vegas before, so even I haven't been had the opportunity to go to America actually due to past discretions. But yeah, just the opportunity to go there and my parents were there, so families being there, getting to experience that sort of. The other side of the world with my mum and dad, which they don't travel much. I think that was what was most special for me. And I just walked around taking photos. But there's a lot they pack into NRL pack a lot into the day to promote the event, and I found it fun. I didn't get bored at all. I loved walking around the shops every day, buying clothes, buying stuff that you don't really see in Australia. So it wasn't hard for me, but I can see where other players more religious players, they probably find it a little bit harder. And I know the Penrith teams are very religious because I don't think they even like walking into casinos and stuff like that. Right. So I don't think that's ideal. But as far as it goes for myself, I enjoyed every moment of it.
I guess, Cheese, for players that have played on the international level, you kind of become accustomed to being in camp for long periods of time and know how to sort of navigate that time on your hands. There's obviously a lot of, nothing changes from a training point of view. It's the days off where they're usually spent, recovering, relaxing, obviously for most players that within the Sydney basin would be, a lot of players reside in the Shire, go to the beach, or, if you reside in Penrith, you're just going about your normal life with your friends, with your family, getting ready to play the ultimate ones, the really smart teams. They avoid those distractions, and that's just outside noise. We're here to focus on the job, but it is a different environment being involved in, just the aircon. You go down from your lift. It is
dries you out so much.
Mate, it actually does dry.
Lip balm is a must.
Lip balm is a must for Vegas.
Absolute must. I was putting lip balm over every 15 seconds. It felt like, and it wasn't doing anything.
I don't ever put lip balm on.
Mate, if you go to Vegas, you need it.
You know what? I know a lot of fighters that go over there. They won't stay in the hotels.
Right.
They'll stay in houses outside because they don't want to.
Is the UFC centre there?
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things the players do. To the point you're talking about last time, there's still business as usual. It's round one, so apart from the promos, we're training. Yeah, and training's a long days. You got video, gym, then you got your training sesh. There's a lot of travel to and fro from those events. Then we went into the UFC thing, which was awesome, and then you do a team activity. Some people go see the Grand Canyon or whatever like that. But it's business as usual. But yeah,
I was actually speaking to Nathan Pickworth, who's head of performance at Cronulla Sharks, and we just crossed path in the gym. He looked after me. Was our head of performance at the Dragons, and just about how there's a bit of a cultural change happening. So, I know the Bulldogs go into camp, they do the captain's run, and then they go into camp the night before the game, they stay together, and that next day is not just like laying in bed in the hotel rooms. That's gone. It's about getting active, getting moved, and the preparation for the game starts in the day. You look at NBA players; they're on court game day.
Mate, they do saunas.
Yeah, but they don't. They often don't do
NF
training sessions.
Yeah.
The NBA guys, they go and just like shoot around, get the shots up they want to do.
Get a bit of that. But NFL players are at the game like hours and hours and hours. They're not rocking up 90 minutes before kickoff. I think we're going to see a bit of a culture shift with like preparation for the game. I can remember back when I was playing, some days you're in the hotel and it's like, oh, I just want to stay in bed. And like, that's actually being proven to be counterproductive to performance. So it's all about trying to squeeze an extra 1% here and there. I think we're going to see a lot of teams go into camp, and that game day where players would be left to their own devices at home, I think we're going to see that change.
I feel like being in the scene now, I've already seen like a little culture shift with the training. I mean, when I first started playing, the amount of, we call it prehab, or like stuff you do prior to training or prior to training on the field, like now it's way more. Like you're doing like an hour and a half of stretching, cuff work. Like you're doing all the, and it used to be like, you know, you didn't have to do it, so not compulsory. Yeah. But you always seeing the most dedicated, the Dale Fanukins of the teams would be in there doing that stuff. But now they've gone, mate, with the demand that the rugby leagues like put upon you now with the speed and the contacts, it's all very necessary, and it's become mandatory to do like these hour sessions. And then once you've had a little break for lunch, you've got to do another one to prepare that body again. So
well, a lot of it is about injury prevention. So like you know, yourself and Sam Walker succumbed to ACL injuries. No doubt the staff at the Roosters are going, and they've had a bit of a history with ACL. Are we doing something with our training methods that are, you know, disproportionately affecting us with this particular injury? Or is there something that we can do to actually help us stop that? Because obviously for the Roosters, having, you know, Brett Morris out, Jared Ria-Hargreaves out in years gone by, that, you know, you forget the number of ACLs that they had, yourself, Sam Walker, that's not helping them. So they'd be foolish not to be looking at ways to try and prevent that. We used to do these hamstring exercises called Nordics, which were like, they're not a fun exercise in particular, but they're not even a strength exercise. It's about injury prevention, and then coming from the hamstrings.
They're putrid.
Are they?
They're like such a simple activity that sucks.
Does it hurt? Or is it a stretch?
It
You
hurts
find
me.
it hurt?
Yeah.
Even I was speaking to a guy from Oxen Sports in the UK, and they're looking at developing a footwear that's more about injury prevention than, you know, ultimate performance. It will have a performance element as well, but they're looking to develop this boot that's going to reduce the possibility of an Achilles heel tear.
Right.
That's what he was telling me. I was like that's where companies are going now because of the value of the players. Obviously, in American sports, are hundreds of millions of dollars into the player. Last thing they can do is afford an injury. And even yourself and, you know, Sammy Walker, there's a fair chunk of the Roosters car that's out. So why wouldn't you investigate ways to prevent that injury? That's where it's all going.
Just another thing that I thought was interesting in Vegas, and you boys are going to know if this is a normal thing or not, but I found it interesting that because in the hotel we're saying the Warriors staff, they were all out drinking like every day, the coaches. And I don't know if that's normal when you guys go away on camps and tours, the coaches have a few drinks, and I mean, it's not them playing physically, but just from my perspective, I was like, this is a bit strange. Like, it's game days 2 days away and you guys are all here having a good time on the casino floor. It was a weird look to me, but you guys know better than me about that.
No, I think it's pretty normal. Like, I've been on a lot of camps, especially on, you know, the Kiwis camps. So a lot of the coaching staff go out and enjoy themselves and have a beer, but they don't go choking any journos. Allegedly. No, but as long as you turn up, they're turning up to work and it's not affecting how they're performing. I mean, going out and getting on the piss and getting rattled and walking into the, you know, video session, you can barely, you know, give your presentation. I don't think that's acceptable from a player's point of view, but you know they're not out there playing. They don't really have to put their body through a performance. To me, it's not a great look, but as a player's point of view, I don't really care.
Well, yeah. Look, any team that I played for when we travelled, you know, the staff would be with the group, do all the work, and then when they had their free time, they'd get together, socialise. Often the day before a game, they'd go like a separate staff dinner. We'd have our players' dinner, and then there'd be a separate staff dinner. But it's one of them, Charlie, where the way the Warriors performed, now everything is going to be under the microscope. Everything will be under the microscope, and people will go, "Okay, what are their what's James Fisher-Harris thinking?" With these come from this Penrith Panthers system, which is all about team culture to drive results. We spoke to Matt Cameron just how important that is, and all those small details. And then when the Warriors underperform, they're going to have all these little things under the microscope that, you know, myself and Cheese will know probably doesn't affect the performance too much. If I was at the Dogs and the staff went out the night before the game and we underperformed, I'm not going.
That's all.
Blame it. You know, it's on us as players to take responsibility. But ultimately, you know, if the Warriors can't change around their level of performance, then all these little areas will come under the microscope. And obviously, the incident with Richard Agar airing some beef from yesteryear with an English journalist. I mean, probably not the time or the place, really. But I get it that it happens.
A few days in Vegas can make anyone angry.
Yeah, I think any team that's underperforming, you're going to find there's a lot of stories that can, like I think the Spencer Lenu one, I don't know who reported it. I didn't even know about it, but he had to publicly apologize, or not publicly, but he had to apologise to us players about the rumours going around. It's like
that was like the hallway come together between the Broncos and the Roosters players. Is that what you're talking about?
No, this is like recently. They said that he wanted to leave the Roosters because he's unhappy, and I hadn't even heard about it until he had to post this big paragraph, and it's like apologising to us, like, mate, why are you having to apologise? We know you're not. Unhappy.
Yeah. And he denied it, the agent denied it, and all that stuff. The only thing with the Warriors staff drinking that I thought was strange was like, if you're in a player's position and you're here, you've been told, let's lock in, we're here in Vegas, we're here for work as well as a business trip, not a social trip, and then you just see your coaches going out every night, I'd be a bit like, oh, well, how come you guys can go do it and then we have to sit here in Vegas like choir boys?
Yeah.
And because they're not being asked to do, the staff aren't going to be out there in the trenches.
No, but you want to have you.
Was it the head coach?
Yeah, the head coach was there. All of them were there. For me, I think it's silly because when do you perform at your best? As a coach, you need to still perform at your best mentally, and you're not going to be as sharp if you're hungover. You're just not.
No, you make a fair point, but then there's the relaxing side of it as well, and the bonding of coaches, which, you know, you can justify it if you want, but like we say, Charlie, when you don't win and you perform as poorly as the Warriors, and there's some selection issues there, that the Warriors need to look at. This is now going to be like, why weren't you pouring over the video? Their attack again really struggled in that red zone. That was a problem last year, and people would literally, the expectation of the public would be, you should be looking at video like 24 hours a day, every week. You don't have time to do that. That will be the questions from the Warriors fans. Go, what do you mean you going out, having dinner? It's like, get in the video room, get a plan, because it's clearly not changed. But and even the Agar thing, that the journalist has asked the NRL to investigate. If it's a police matter, if he's choked him.
Have you done anything like that before with a journo?
Well, I had my, I guess, verbal stout with Peter Fitzsimons, but never actually seen him until maybe a couple of years after, when he wanted to reignite that feud in a public way, which was just...
Did you choke him?
No, I was just in disbelief. There was an English journalist that I actually, at one time, like, if I'd have saw him, I'd have punched him.
Who was that?
I can't remember his name. So my final year at St. Helens, my granddad died in like the week before the grand final, and I missed the end of season awards because I was obviously going through that and dealing with all this. And then this journos found out and got in touch about through the club. I can't remember exactly the timeline of events, but basically I'd spoke to him and said, I missed that event for personal reasons. I will be playing on Saturday. Like there's no doubt about it. I'm going to be playing in this grand final on Saturday, a personal event. And then he had the audacity to write that I'm in doubt because of personal reasons. I was like, mate, I rang him up and I was like, mate, you are a lying bastard. Like you've wrote this.
Bastard.
You've wrote this to generate like, I was like, I fucking told you I was playing. I told you it was personal.
Yeah.
And you've pissed me off. Like if I see you, I'm fucking coming for you. Do not turn up in that St. Helens press box at the end of the game because I will come for you. And I mean that. And he's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, mate, you're not sorry. Because if you were sorry, you wouldn't have wrote it. And you've not written an apology. So don't lie to me as well and say how sorry you are. So mate, you're a liar. And I specifically said it was for personal reasons. And you're making it worse for me and my family, saying I'm not going to play. I was like, you, do not turn up to Old Trafford on Saturday, because if after the game, I will come for you. And he was like, just fumbling around. So obviously I don't know exactly the story with Richie Agar.
But you can empathise.
But I can empathise if people hit you on a personal level. That was why I was so pissed off about Fitzsimons, because it was personal.
Yeah.
It wasn't put together correctly, in my opinion. It was assassinating my character. And then in the terms of this English journalist, he was putting unnecessary stress on me and my family during a time of crisis. So I was like, mate, I'll take the police report, but I'm going to, put you in intensive care. But yes.
I've just during this conversation, something reminded me of Vegas. Do you want to tell everyone how you say the cheese board? What's the? Say it, mate. We sat down. I'll say that. Do you know what I'm saying? We sat down for dinner.
Knob.
And Jimmy's like, what should we get to? What should we do? Should we order a cheese caricature? And I was like, what? What the hell? Just a cheese caricature? And then I looked down at the thing and he's like, a cheese and meat. A cheese charcuterie board. And Jimmy's been calling his whole life a caricature.
Caricature. And a caricature is where you draw. It's so embarrassing. I can't believe I said it out loud. Yeah. I know it's one of those words to look at is kind of difficult to pronounce. And there are a few.
How do you say it actually?
Cheese charcuterie board. Charcuterie. Caricature.
Do you want to get one of those caricature boards with the meats and cheese? And he's like, what? It comes out like the drawing.
I'll be honest, I have no idea what that. I have no idea what that word is. I'd have to have a step. I'd just say, you want to get a cheese platter?
Yeah, that was the safe way to do it.
Yeah,
that would be safe. There was a few little moments from Jimmy while we were in Vegas. There was.
It's like when I go Italian, I never ever order read. I just point and ask them to say.
Yeah.
I refuse.
I can speak a bit of Italian though.
Well, the pronunciation, some of the pastas is a bit full on. Pronunciation on some of the pastas.
You're a nunce.
The little they should just say in a fancy restaurant, bow ties, tubes, shells. But no, you've got to be fancy and put the Italian words.
Mate, I'm getting our gym instructor. He's the same thing at the moment. He just made me do this thing. It was like unilateral leg press, and I was like, "What the fuck is unilateral?" It just means single leg.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
It's just instead of doing the two legs, you just do one leg. Unilateral, mate. Just
say single leg.
Just say single leg, or just have SL leg press.
Yeah,
simple.
I've remembered the other thing as well that was funny with Jimmy. So Jimmy on the flight back, I was in economy with most of the Triple M people, but Jimmy was in business class because got to look after the stars of the show. And then Jimmy
good with you, Jim.
Jimmy gets bored on planes though. So like he needs to be talking to someone, and so he walked up to the back in economy where I was sitting with Ben Dobbin, and then he came there and stood and was chatting to us for about 15 minutes and just ordering drinks, chatting away, and then a lady comes up and goes, excuse me, sir, your phone alarm has been going off for the last 10 minutes. And he'd left an alarm on in business and woken everyone in business class up, and they had to come and find him. And it was funny, the lady who came and found him was Ricky Stewart's wife as well, I believe. So Vegas got the best of you.
Was Ricky on that same flight?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
Ricky's going to get that fucking...
There is some
Mal Meninga was there. He woke up Mal Meninga with the alarm.
There is some GST on this story.
Oh,
so,
please.
20 minutes.
In fact, this is one of those, I overthink like sliding door moments. So decided to have...
What do you mean you overthink sliding door? I don't...
Well, like, if I choose to go for a coffee, and then where that puts me in the world,
in the space-time
or
continuum,
go to a different cafe, you know, where I am in the planet aligns and all that sort of jazz, and yeah,
butterfly effect,
butterfly effect stuff. So, got to Vegas airport, flew to Los Angeles, had like a couple of drinks, and then we were lining up to get on the flight to Fiji, and then. I thought, I was going to have another beer. I'll just wait. I'm not bothered waiting in the line. So I'm waiting having a beer. I was basically one of the last in the line. And then as we're walking, like I'd resigned myself to, we're going to be in economy. And then the geezer in front goes, excuse me, I'm just looking to try and like get an upgrade into business. And I'm thinking, wait, there's not, it's full. And they go, oh yeah, there's a couple of seats left. So my ears have perked up. And I've said, there's a couple available, is that? Like, how much? And they said the price, it was actually very reasonable. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. So,
So where's the stars aligning? What's going on?
Well, the thing is, if I'd have not gone for that beer, I'd have never been behind that bloke in the queue. I never would have found out.
And you would have never woken up Mel Meninga with your phone alarm. And that's why we have gone so far from the alarm. I want to know the GST on the alarm story.
No, there is no GST on the alarm story.
The thing I'm trying to say is sometimes in life going for a beer will put you in a better position.
100%. So I did in that occasion.
That's the moral of the story.
It was funny though, just quickly. It was funny. We got to LAX airport and Jimmy's like, Charlie, I'm not going to drink for the rest of the month. And then as soon as we got to the lounge, he got himself 2 beers and he was ordering 2 rum and cokes at a time.
When Jimmy let me in the garage today, he got in the car and he goes, "Mate, I'm not going back to Vegas ever again." He goes, "If I do, I'm taking the wife."
No, I'm not. The alarm going off. Like, is it
back.
Is it true? Is it true? Yes.
It's 100% true.
Yeah, it's true. It's 100% true that it went off. What's not 100% true is that it went off for 10 minutes and woke up the whole of business class. It went off and they basically came to us, "Excuse me, sir, is this your alarm?"
No, Ricky Stewart's wife came and said, "James, your phone has been going off for 5 minutes," and everyone's been woken up.
No, that's incorrect.
And Mal Meninga was there and you woke him up. He was in 1A, Mal Meninga, poor bloke, trying to sleep. He's been over on a fact-finding mission. He needs all the rest he can on the way home.
See, this is why Vegas is awesome. That's why you have to go back. All these stories are just outstanding.
It's the best.
Speaking of, geez, you've been in the news for not attending a Roosters function.
Yeah.
What
I didn't know I had been, but thank you for letting me know today. I was sick. Victor Radley was sick, made me sick, but I was badly sick. I was 7 days at home. Like I missed.
Bedridden?
I was bedridden, but it was good because we had the game into 3 days off. But my 3 days off was 3 days off in bed. So but yeah, there's not a story to tell. There's actually a couple of boys in hospital at the moment.
Oh really?
From the club, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, with Vegas going on, that dominates, and then any sort of news, you do make headlines, Cheese. So
thank you.
Any update on the future? Yeah, there's obviously.
There's a big update coming soon. Ooh. There's a big update coming soon. How soon, I don't know.
Oh. Well, you know where your bread's buttered.
I think I have a date.
So just, if any journos call you after this, do not answer.
Nah.
This is where it's at, because with it, Well, I'm not a journalist, but
Oh well, actually, there's another Vegas thing. So Jimmy Graham, there's the NRL like in Tourism Las Vegas, Tourism Nevada, is it, or Las Vegas?
touring in Las Vegas. Yeah.
They reached out to the NRL to get the 12 biggest journalists in the game to come to this special night that they were throwing at this was it Caesar's Palace in a hotel room?
It was at the Palms.
The Palms, and they had like a $25,000 hotel room with a basketball court, and only the top 12 journalists in the game got invited. James Graham was one of them.
I don't think they said top 12 journalists.
Well, they did. Was every other person there a journalist who was invited?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
What would you call yourself? An influencer?
Never.
Content creator,
Content creator?
a pundit.
What is your
talking
title?
Rugby league correspondent.
What is your title? If not journalist.
You know what?
If not journalist.
Yeah, if not journalist,
So
what
you
is
know
it?
on the landing card. What you say occupation on the landing card.
Yeah.
What do you think I put?
Media.
Podcaster.
Did you? Hoping that they asked him about his podcast as he scares through.
That's bad, that isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, what else am I going to put?
Yeah.
Journalist.
No. Well, I suppose it's just a landing card. They don't read them
Yeah,
anyway.
I just wrote media.
Did you?
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh, media. No, it was actually really cool going to this.
Is like Braithen Astor, is that or is that like talk show host or?
He's a rugby league personality, I reckon you'd call yourself.
He's a
Yeah,
host.
rugby league personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take that personally.
Rugby league reporter.
Yeah.
AKA journalist.
To be
Braith's
fair.
agent as well. We were actually talking about this the other day. Was who are the most like 5 powerful NRL personalities? And Braith was in the top 5 on this list. Yeah,
Yeah, he's quite powerful. I mean,
he is.
obviously, he's making a lot of money off Munster.
But you're right, Charlie. Going to this, they invited us. It was this $30,000 a night US suite. It had some bartender, half basketball court, the actual proper scoreboard. You'd set it up, could sleep like 12. Some of there was beds you could pull down in the court, basically reserved for like very wealthy people and all the people that can afford that sort of stuff. So, yeah,
It was him, Buzz Rothfield. No, Braith didn't make the cut of this one. It was you, Buzz Rothfield, Chamis, Reedy. Who else? Was Travis Main there from Michael Carrianis probably?
Yeah, there's quite a few, yeah.
The Who's Who and James Graham.
Yeah.
Well,
And then they took
He
us
was not
to,
there, no.
They took us to a nice little restaurant as well after it in the Palms, like beautiful view over Las Vegas. So, yeah.
What are your thoughts on the 4-game setup as well? Now that it's like been a couple of days, at being there at the ground, it was a long day, but like that we're working, so that's a bit different. But I thought 4 was maybe too many.
Yeah, it's something that they will need to look at. I think Volandis has already said 4 is too many, and because that stadium doesn't allow you to leave and then come back. So you can imagine if you're a Wigan or a Warrington fan, you watch all that, you might. It's actually genuinely possible to want to leave and then come back and watch the 3rd game or the 4th game. It's a lot of football to consume. But we have this same with Magic Round. We've been there where there's 3 games in a day, and that's
The last game's pretty empty a lot of the time, Magic Round as well, because people they've been there, they're drinking all day, and they want to go to Caxton Street.
Yeah. So, look, I think by them having the Sharks v the Panthers last game, that was the headliner.
Yeah.
Like if you think about like a fight card, it's all built up to the final game. But obviously with team sports, it's probably a little bit different. So, you know,
you want to find like the prime time.
Yeah. But I think 4 is too much. But then if we go to 3, or do we go across 2 days? It's
across 2 days for me is the best scenario, because like even 3 is a lot of footy. Like, and you could do, if you did it over 2 days, you could have maybe have a World Club Challenge. Well, this is Winston Neville's idea. I'm going to steal it from him now and just say that he's here with us. This is over 2 days. You go World Club Challenge as one of them, and then another NRL game on that day, and then on the next day you do 2 NRL games. So that way you've got, what have you got? You've got 1 English team, so that ticks the English box, and then you've got 5 NRL clubs going.
Could you not get an NRL State of Origin game in there.
Yeah, I think it's got to be a state of origin if you're going to do it. I don't think you can do an international game. And I think a state of origin, like the first one is in Magic Round time anyway. So it's before their season. I saw people talking about, it's not in season for them to have that origin game, but neither is their first origin game anyway.
That's the only really competitive fixture that I think is worthy of that stage.
Yeah.
At the moment.
And it's always an amazing contest, that one, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to showcase it. That's the way to get people engaged and fixated, because to be fair, most people were like, you'd turn off because it was just domination. And this isn't a knock on it. It's like it showcases, just like we've already said, about if you invest in the pathways versus if you don't invest in the pathways. And look, I can't see things changing much in the English game at the moment, in the short term anyway. But I think perhaps a women's origin game, or if it's if that's the time of year that we're going, we've got to. It's never going to be perfect. Like even the test, like playing a test match at that time of year, that wouldn't be seen as ideal. But what can we do to make sure they're on display?
And the thing that with the NRLW, which is like Westpac, they're the major partner of the NRL and NRLW, and they put so much support into the NRLW. So the NRLW is in this brilliant financial position where Westpac's investing in their game, the NRL's investing in the NRLW, and like you said, mate, the difference is like it's chalk and cheese. But also, the English team could have picked a better squad. They had like 6 or 7 NRLW players that reached out to England and said, hey, we've actually got English passports. We'd come play for you guys if you want us. And they turned them down. We
spoke to Jasmine Strange, didn't we?
Yeah, she was one of those players,
I put my hand up to play for England, and they basically turned around and said, we've got those girls covered.
Yeah, and clearly they didn't. It was 90-4.
Well, so. The only issue with the World Cup Challenge game is just how much runway those fans get. So let's say, for example, it's penciled in for St Helens to play Wigan at the same. So St Helens to play Leeds at the 2026 Vegas. If one of those teams wins the comp, then they have to play in the World Cup Challenge. Or say, for example, the NRL announce Bulldogs are going to play Dragons at Vegas next year, as well as say Para v Gold Coast. Just for example, if one of those 4 teams wins the comp, then they have to go and play in the World Cup Challenge, and it just messes that whole fixture around. I think, fans of clubs would like to know in advance. It's a big expense to go to Las Vegas to watch your team play, and I think, unfortunately, you wouldn't know till October for a game in late Feb, early March. I don't know if that's enough runway for those supporters of all the teams, because then that would say in England, that would be 3 teams going. All 3 would only find out in October. And it'd be the same in the NRL. If you got 5 teams going, all 5 wouldn't know until October.
Yeah.
They'd be guaranteed. And I just think if you're wanting to really increase the number of fans attending at the game, especially from Australia and England, then you've got to give them more runway.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. Like I think it's probably you probably need to give it more prep, but also at the same time, if fans want to go, I'm sure a lot of the trips were booked post October. If fans are that keen on it, they'll probably be able to turn it around. Because booking flights at that time isn't that much more expensive as well.
Yeah, you bring up a very good point. I just don't think they'll be able to do that World Cup Challenge, eh?
Yeah. Or they could work a year back from the World Club Challenge, because we're already late for the World Club Challenge for this one. Like when are they going to play it? Maybe they're not going to play it. Penrith, Wigan. Yeah, so then could you do that one as the next year? And then you start working your World Club Challenge a year behind, or is that then a bit meaningless?
Yeah, I think it's meaningless.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
On the English stuff as well, Bevan French is a freak of a talent, isn't he? Seeing him up close and personal, he is a freak.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Like, obviously, everyone's screaming for him to come back, but does he do that in the NRL? That's the big question. I feel like everyone wants to know.
He won't come back.
No.
Yeah.
It's just...
Well, he'd be one of the marquee players that...
So...
Don't they have like an unlimited cap for them?
So he'd be on, roughly speaking, around 300,000 English.
I think he's on 350.
Right, so 350 English. On top of that package would have a car, a house, pays his agent's fees. the cost of living in the northwest of England versus the cost of living here in Sydney. Like, he basically he could live off.
I think he's got some crazy stuff in there because my old housemates is one of his best mates. He's got some crazy little incentive deals as well.
Yeah.
Like super yacht. Oh,
Yeah.
Super yacht. There's like a owner thing has a super yacht or something that he's allowed to use for.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So like like,
Mate, and he's the kid. He's
but
the,
Europe, that's illegal. Like,
Yeah.
And also, like, he's killing it there. He's 29 now. Like, for an NRL club to bring him back, like, they're not going to guarantee he'll play every week. He'd probably be on, what, maybe 250, 300? Like, compared what he's...
Oh, I reckon
No,
he'd
I
come back
reckon-
now and get 7, 8 maybe.
I reckon he'd get a big
Yeah.
I reckon he'd get a big payday if he come back. I just think what he's doing over there is so freakish. Like
Yeah, okay. All right, maybe...
But on
maybe
7,
I'll
8 back here, I think
what's
he's...
the guy? What's the 7 at? Bunny's getting paid.
Lewis Dodd, yeah, he'd be getting...
600, I think,
6,
650.
yeah, so he's
me-
coming for more than Lewis Dodd.
Yeah. But he was
even
still,
Jai
but
Field was
even
disgustingly
on
good as
800 in Sydney, without the house and car included, it's a much better deal being
Yeah.
back at on 350 money wise. But again, it's you go.
I'm sorry, also playing at Wigan where he's the star of the show there.
Yeah.
Where it comes back here, if a club signed Bevan French, you can't tell me that they're already putting pressure on him. Like the
If you
media,
sign
like-
Bevan French as well, I don't think you're even Bevan. Like, I don't think he's going to get franchise tagged. Like,
Yeah.
he's not going to go to a team and he's the best
Yeah.
player in that team, or like at least in the perception of the coaching staff and that.
But I think, you look at what teams would he be suited for. He plays quite a bit of 5'8", like maybe at, Newcastle in the market for Dylan Brown. You talk about 1.2 for him, or do you go Bevan French for see if you can get him for 7? Like, I think you're getting more value there, and then you can play around with that money. I think it's not whether a Bevan French could find a club. I think there's a multitude of clubs that he could certainly add to with his playing ability and what he does for the team.
He's bulked up a bit as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's a bit more bulky than I thought he would be up close.
Well, I think the thing that is when he was at NRL, he was a winger.
Yeah.
Like people, and now that he's become a ball player, and this is, I know this is quite off topic, but this is where I feel Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is wasted at the Warriors because he can do so many things with ball in hand, but like Bevan French, what you see him doing over in Super League, that's because he's been given the opportunity to get the ball in his hand as much times as possible. Like when you've got a skill set like that, fast, good with your feet, got good ball playing skills, you need the ball at least 50 times a game in your hands.
Yeah.
You don't need to run
you
50
need to
times, but
50
you need to see
receives.
the ball. Whereas when he was on wing it for Para, he's seeing it 12 times a game, max. And it's the same that goes with Roger. I think he's obviously a lot more with ball in hand, but the quality of the ball in hand he's getting is you get us out of trouble. Like,
Yeah.
and then when you get down into that red zone where they're struggling so much, he's sitting there just waiting for the ball, whereas he can demand the ball if he's in that fullback role. And I'm not taking anything away from Chance, like he's an international fullback, but I just think they need to work something around him because he is wasted out there.
Mate, I've been saying it since the moment he was picked on the wing. And look, respect for what Chance did in 2023, but like you've got Roger there. Even defensively, Cheese, that try they conceded where Chance is one-on-one for that bomb and he sits into it. Like,
Yeah.
Who would have more like creativity and attack as well, Roger or Chance? Roger. So then they need to get him in there as well because the issue for them as well is Metcalf's more of a running 6 and they asking him to play halfback as well.
and he was very pass happy.
Yeah.
Metcalf on the weekend. It was funny watching that game when I thought that the half should run, they passed. And when I thought when I thought they should run, they passed. And when they passed, I thought they should run, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does,
They
yeah.
got the balance of it a little bit mixed up. It is funny. We play...
I just thought the way they dealt with the man down was pretty bad in attack.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking anyone. Wade Egan's one of the, probably top 5 best hookers in the comp. But some of those short sides he took with the...
Yeah, it was man on man.
with man on man, when you've got someone out. And also what I don't want to pump up is like the Warriors play bad, but Jesus, Canberra turned up every single moment. Like every moment when they had 12 men down, like they conceded one try, but I think a lot of the lackluster of the Warriors' performance is not enough praise for Canberra's performance. They were good out of their end. They iced opportunities. They kept to a simple game plan and they executed well, which is what round one is all about. It's about simple footy. And then when you get your opportunities, you have to nail them. And I feel like Canberra did that. And like I said, the Warriors' performance being bad has kind of just taken a dim off the light of what Canberra actually produced.
Yeah, you're definitely right there, Cheese. Canberra were sensational. But also, there's 13 other clubs that we've not seen. We've only seen 4. Penrith, here we go again. Nothing's changed. Sharks, they look a bit better, but really, should they have given a better account of themselves? Yeah, we'll see how that works. Obviously, Canberra, everyone's cheering. The Warriors now, everyone's, they could be spooners.
Yeah.
But there's 13 other teams that we've yet to see.
Yeah. The other thing on Penrith as well is Dylan Edwards hadn't played a trial. Nathan Cleary hadn't played a trial. Jack Cole was making his... not his debut because he played last year, but it's that new spine taking Luai's spot. No To'o, he didn't play. So it's like there are all these other things. Penrith are going to get so much better.
McLean
got knocked out straight away, so then they had to reshuffle. Dane Laurie goes to the wing.
I don't know if you're going to have a better opportunity to beat Penrith.
Yeah.
If you're the Sharks.
I don't need to give them any more praise. They are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Even Dylan Edwards, you got penalised for incorrect play of the ball.
Twice maybe.
No, he got
just once.
And he threw a bit of a shocker. Have you ever seen Edwards do that?
He just shakes it off now.
Yeah.
I remember the Dylan Edwards of 2016, 2017. That would have really rattled him. And now it's just like, boom, one bad pass, next job. He's crazy. As long as Yo, Edwards and Cleary are there, they'll never, ever be not contention for premiership. You can put anyone around them. You've got Lindsay Smith in there.
I love Lindsay Smith.
He's just unbelievable player now. What... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Brian Toll, everyone talks about Brian Toll is the reason they get out of yardage. He wasn't there, and they rolled down the field. They're another hungry Penrith team.
Their ability to change momentum and not just accept that they're going to grind back in the game. They grind, but there's something different about them where the ability to defend their own line, then go up the other end.
Yeah, but it's their ability to defend in general. It's just, but I heard that you were saying the coaches, staff, and Warriors. I heard that a lot of the attack is Nathan Cleary, him watching something, and this is what Cam Smith did. This is what Cooper Cron. He'd watch something in a game, come up with a play himself, and then tell the boys this is what we want to run, and they'd go through it a couple of times. And I only heard that after I was speaking to someone about it. How those set plays were so silky. Their tries they scored when they were down there, they were set plays. The kick play, Mitch Kenny dropped one under, dummied it, and then they had 2 leads running. They're all set plays, and apparently Nathan Cleary comes up with those.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I was watching Nathan quite closely and just how Penrith attacked. He was doing this very strange thing where he'd run to the right and that pass out the back and then sprint back and almost look to try and link up. So he passed the ball out to the right and then, when they drop plays off, look to link back.
Pass and then run back.
Pass and then sprint back almost to get on the link. It's very interesting. We're going to see, I think we obviously see some great deception from Nathan, but he's looking to advance his game and test out that, especially when teams go set for set and fatigue gets in. If you're defending on the right-hand side of the ruck and the ball goes away, you automatically stop. Your instruction is to keep moving, but fatigue gets hard. You stop. What Nathan, I think, is looking to do long-term is just catch you off guard, go to the right, and then sprint back over to the left. He's looking finely tuned for a big year.
If he has an Origin series where he just dominates it, it's all over. He's the greatest halfback of all time.
Yeah.
That's all he's got to do now.
Any big team news, Charlie?
There are.
Literally Tuesday, 4 o'clock.
It's 4:05 p.m. The teams are in. Well, I'll just go through and you boys give us your thoughts on it. New era for the Roosters. Mark Nawangani Tawase starting in the centres with Robert Toyer. That's big for you, Cheese.
Yep.
and your boys.
Billy Smith's still injured.
Billy Smith's still injured, is that right?
Yeah.
That's a shame, mate, isn't it?
He has all the rare injuries. Like I think he did a tour it's like a labrum, but in his hip. Not like your shoulder, your shoulder. Yeah, I think he done like one in his hip, which is like unheard of.
Poor fellow.
I think he's back very soon.
Yeah.
Forward pack still looks unbelievable. You got Lindsay Collins up the front with Nafua White, Angus Crichton and Radley in the back row, Nat Butcher at lock. Big one as well for the Broncos. All talk about Pat Carrigan, where would he play? He's playing in the front row, not at lock.
It's going to be interesting. And I say that because I've been...
Can you tell me who's playing for the Broncos?
Do you want me to give you their 1 to 17?
Yep.
Reece Walsh at the back, Cobbo on one wing, Jesse Arthur on the other, Dean Mariner and Shibasaki are the centres because Staggs is out, Ben Hunt at 5'8", Adam Reynolds at halfback, Pat Carrigan and Payne Haas, your front rowers, Corey Pakes at hooker, Gajeski and Jordan Ricky are the back rowers, Kobe Hetherington at lock.
Yeah, so that's Maguire saying, look, I don't want a ball playing lock anymore. So he's got Hetherington in there to do all the cleanup work, and basically Pat Carrigan's ball playing will be significantly reduced, which that's a tactic of Maguire, and that's fine.
Well, who's the bench? Who's like
Billy Walters, Corey Jensen, Xavier Willison, and Brendan Piakura. I'm surprised Piakura didn't get the back row spot over Gajeski as well.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, he didn't trial. Like he trialled in 20. But I was wondering about Xavier Willison because that means Marty Tapau's out.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. He's in play number 20. He's in.
But with Carrigan moving, if he thinks he's a lock, and this new game plan doesn't go well, it's going to be hard for him to remain driven and focused with this new role.
Am I right in saying Ben Hunt doesn't like ball playing locks?
He prefers to get the ball off the dummy half.
Okay.
Or out the back of shape, maybe off.
Halfback.
Yeah, another halfback. Yeah, he's not a particular massive fan of sitting out the back of middle forwards that play to him. He wants that service straight away.
Next game, Friday, 6 p.m. It feels like a massive game, this one, Tigers Knights. Like, whoever lose, both these two teams need to start the season well.
I know we're gonna preview everything
because Hindy's in tomorrow.
Yeah, Hindy's in tomorrow. But mate, I don't know if there's ever been more riding on a round one game between and it's on Newcastle against the Tigers. It's like whoever loses is just instantly gonna be just a barrage of pressure is just going to come that way. Is there anything else happening major team?
Yeah, for Tigers, yeah. So Heath Mason's at fullback, so Buller must be injured. Luai making his debut big as well. But yeah.
Is Clemmer featured or no?
Clemmer's not in the team. No, he's not. He's not.
Okay.
Should be at the Dragons soon though, David Clemmer.
Yeah. Did Sloan get picked for Dragons?
For the Dragons, I'll tell you that. We'll just keep working through in the order. Dolphins, Bunnies.
Is that game going to go ahead?
The Dolphins Bunnies game?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a chance a cyclone could rule it out. For everyone in Southeast Queensland, hope you're doing all right.
What does that mean for the competition?
They would just reschedule it. So, the best case scenario for the Dolphins, Rabbitohs, what I'd be thinking is it's meant to be at 8 o'clock on Friday. Just push it to the Saturday 3 o'clock slot where there's no game anyway at the moment.
Oh, yes.
But then they'll have to make it up to Channel 9 further down the track.
Yeah.
But I guess you can
I'm
figure
sure
that out.
they'd understand.
Jamie Humphries at halfback because obviously Lewis Dodd's suspended. So he gets first crack. And then I'm just sort of scrolling through the other teams. Obviously, the Doggies know who have they got. Marcelo Montoya making his debut. Second debut for the Dogs. And then everything else fairly normal for them.
Wings for the Dragons?
For the Wings on the Dragons, Matt Fagai and Christian Tuipulotu. So Sloan's not in the team, nah.
And not on the bench?
Not on the bench. Number 19, he's in.
Okay. Storms?
Just quickly, Tom Duffy at halfback for the Cowboys. Been saying that all off season.
I've been saying it all off season. You're right.
And he's got it. Leo Hapawadi on one wing as well. Saab's back from that injury. It was talk he might not play. Storm, you've got Pappenhausen at the back. Stefano Utoikamanu making his debut, and that's probably it of note for that.
Who's the utility? Falongo or
Wishart? No, Wishart.
Right, nice. All right. Well, that probably just about wraps us up. We'll be back with Hindy tomorrow or Thursday.
Actually, one quick thing before we go. Ronald Volkman in at halfback for the Parramatta Eels. So Moses must be injured.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Mitch Moses sidelined by a foot injury. So that's a shame, Parramatta fans.
That is a huge blow for Para.
And Jack Williams on one edge. He's playing on the edge, starting at back rower.
Well,
Yeah, Humphreys halfback for South.
Don't trust teamless, boys.
don't trust teamless.
Well, Dodds suspended.
Teamless, especially a Craig Bellamy teamless. Jesus.
Okay. All right, well, that just about wraps us up. Cheers. Looking forward to the next couple of weeks, my friend.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Charlie?
Thanks for coming in too. You've done such a great job.
Bedtime?
Bedtime.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, thanks for listening, everybody. We will catch you later in the week.